Welcome to the channel, viewers. Dr. JWA, theologist. Since 1994, the life of Muhammad and the verified revelation structure of the people of the book. Episode 43. The fear of letting go for the Muslim. Viewers, the Muslim listener now feels the collision between the people of the book, the Christians, and Islamic ideology. And they feel the collision internally, not academically, not politically, personally. Because the question has changed. The issue is no longer simply obedience. The issue is salvation itself. In the previous episode, the collision between obedience to the messenger and surrender to the Messiah intensified inside the soul of the Muslim. And in this episode, another pressure emerges. The fear of letting go. The fear of letting Islamic ideology and all its observances, demands, requirements, principles and exercises go. Because once the Messiah enters the narrative, offering inward freedom from corruption through faith rather than performance, the entire emotional structure underneath any religious identity, be it Islamic ideology, begins trembling. The Muslim inside the Islamic ideological system feels the tension immediately. If salvation comes through surrender and belief, well, what happens to the system built on outward obedience, preservation, conformity, and fear-governed righteousness? What happens? Well, for the Muslim, that realization becomes terrifying. Not because the soul cannot recognize the invitation, but because the cost of leaving the Islamic ideological structure suddenly becomes catastrophically visible. Family, identity, community, history, acceptance, belonging. And the performance structure now starts defending itself existentially, not only theologically. Because systems built upon outward righteousness instinctively resist anything threatening the structure, preserving outward righteousness itself. And that's where the enmity intensifies. Muhammad's Islamic ideological system, for all its initial intensive purposes, boasting association with the people of the book, completely missed the Messiah. The people of the book were concerned with stopping the inward corruption of sin itself. And now the Messiah enters the narrative, offering what obedient systems as in this case Islamic ideological religion, could never fully produce freedom from inward corruption through faith and grace alone. Because outward obedience may restrain behavior temporarily, while hidden corruption continues surviving underneath the performance. Corruption keeps expressing itself through impurity, inward uncleanness surviving beneath disciplined appearance, hostility, emotional aggression towards truth threatening the structure, and power preservation, pressure and fear protecting religious identity against exposure. Islamic externally managed righteousness may regulate behavior publicly, but inward corruption continues surviving wherever fear governs conscience, performance governs acceptance, and hidden sin remains unresolved beneath religious identity. The people of the book reveal the invitation differently. In Ephesians 2:8-9 it reads, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that is not of yourselves. It's not a result of works. It is the gift of God." And that statement becomes spiritually explosive inside obedience-governed systems, particularly Islamic ideology. Because grace removes the pride of performance. Faith removes boasting, and surrender to the Messiah confronts the inward corruption directly instead of merely regulating outward conduct. The Quranic submission structure continues time and time again, reinforcing allegiance through obedience to the messenger. Obey Allah and obey the messenger. Quran 4:59. But the Messiah speaks differently to the exhausted sinner, be Muslim or anything else. He speaks differently. The Messiah reaches out his hand and he says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." This was the thing. This was the person that Muhammad failed to see. And eventually the Muslim listener begins feeling the divide internally. One path keeps demanding more performance to preserve the structure, and the other offers rest to the soul trapped underneath the performance. For the Muslim, prayer continues, the pressure resumes, but another fear has now entered the room. What if letting go of the Islamic ideological system is the very thing standing between the soul, my soul, and freedom? I'm Dr. J.W. Ayub, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia, since 1994. Like, comment, share. Bye for now.
Thank